morning.
Good morning.
Ashley Graham, Chief of Operations, Humankind. And we were speaking a little earlier. Humankind came about in 1903.
It did.
And then there was a notation about 1967. Was that the Central Virginia or the Lynchburg? What's the difference in 1903 versus 1967?
Sure. So we started in 1903 as a Presbyterian orphanage on our Lynchburg campus, which is off of VES Road. So we are celebrating 120 years this year, which is really incredible. And over time, our services evolved. So we started out having children living on our campus. We had anywhere from 75 to 100 children at a time that lived in the multiple cottages on our beautiful campus. And then over time, we learned that children, they need support even after they turn 18, even after they age out of children's services or at that time, the care in the orphanage. And we had one individual in particular who had some intellectual disabilities and was told he wouldn't be able to live independently in adulthood. And so we decided to also start providing care for individuals with intellectual disabilities and open a campus for that care as well for adults. So we grew and grew over these 120 years to adapt to the needs of our community and to the needs of the individuals that we cared for. We do the same today, and we have very similar services today as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You're an amazing speaker. I just love this. So, tell us a little bit about the structure of your team and your board of directors.
Sure. Yeah, so we honestly, the greatest privilege that I have in this work is supporting our staff. We have an incredible team. We have an incredible culture. In fact, we were just voted one of the best places to work by Lynchburg Business Magazine. And we've had some staff who have called our culture weird, meaning everybody's happy all the time. Everybody's smiling. Everybody's nice. Everybody's supportive. So we have an incredible team of people that goes out into the community every day and supports our neighbors and our community members. And then we also have a really strong governing board. Individuals from across Lynchburg and across the state of Virginia who gift their time to us. And it's a lot of time. It's a big commitment. And they guide and direct us. They govern the work that we do and our financials and make sure that we're a strong organization that can continue to support the community.
That's amazing, because I was reading on the website that you all have assisted more than 7,000 people throughout the state of Virginia. That's a lot of people.
Yeah, actually 17,000.
17,000?
Yeah, it's pretty staggering.
That's a lot.
It really is. And that looks different with every person that we interact with. Some people, it's a real quick interaction. They're walking into our workforce center asking for help to build a resume. So that could be a one-time quick support service that we provide. And for other individuals of that 17,000, it looks like a child in our treatment foster care program who's receiving 24/7 care from the foster parents that we are educating and training and supporting to provide that safe and nurturing environment for them. So 17,000 it's huge, and yet there are individual stories behind every single one of those people.
Of course, because you touch each one of these people and you make their life better for the rest of their lives, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Now, on the website, it's something called Zuni Campus.
Zuni.
What is Zuni?
Yes. So that's what you referenced back in the 1960s. That was the campus that we opened near the Eastern Shore to care for adults with intellectual disabilities. That campus has since been closed because, again, we've adapted over time to best practices. What is the best type of care for individuals? And what we've learned is that both with children and adults, sometimes the group home setting is not the best setting. Sometimes it's better for individuals to be in a home, in a single family home with a family living in the community day to day as the rest of us do. So we shifted our orphanage model to the treatment foster care model, and we shifted the group home model for adults to what's called a sponsored home model. So individuals go into homes with families and they become a part of the family unit, and they get out and volunteer during the day, or go to work or to school during the day, go on family vacations with the family. They're truly a part of the family unit and the community.
It's amazing to me because I love the saying that history repeats itself, because in the 60s and the 70s, I know that when Central Virginia Training Center was open, one of my sisters worked there. Her sister-in-law is her mother-in-law, and my sister, when the weekends that she was not working, she brought one of the people home with her. So I grew up with people from the training center, and those people playing with those children and eating with those children, I think created a more rounded, balanced person within me, which is incredible. Now, the 60-acre campus, that's what's on VES Road.
160 acres.
160 acres, which is a lot. So tell me, you have a pavilion, a pool, a chapel, a kitchen. You have a commercial kitchen, which I'd love to see. You have a gym, a pond, trails. You have disc golf, green spaces, and I've seen the community garden. I've actually been over there. That's awesome. So all of these things, the children or whoever's involved can take advantage of these things, and I'm sure in some sort of structured manner.
So we open up our campus to the community as well as to the individuals that are engaged in our programs and services. It's particularly active in the summer. So now, outside my office, I get to hear kids squealing in the pool, coming and going on all of their camp buses. So we have partnered with camps and churches and summer programs across the community who come onto our campus and use our pool every summer.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's amazing, because I have to say, you all's your website it's so in depth, and there's so much more about humankind than I knew, and it took a lot more time. So you all have a lot of different segments to what you do. You have adult services, Blackwater counseling, early Head Start, economic resource center, foster care, healthy families, parenting and family services, the Motherhood Collective. So tell me about, and I think you've touched a little bit on adult services, but the Blackwater counseling and the early Head Start. Tell us a little bit about those.
Yeah. So Blackwater Counseling is an outpatient counseling center, which many people are familiar with. So individuals can either come onto our campus into our office to have a counseling session one-on-one or with a family member, or they can participate in telehealth, which of course has become very popular since the pandemic. So if they maybe don't have transportation to get to the office, but they can, pull up a screen, a phone, and engage with a counselor that way, we provide both options. What sets us apart as a counseling center is that we accept all insurance providers, including Medicaid, and we also have some grant-funded spots. United Way of Central Virginia helps to support some of those spots, so that individuals who don't have insurance can still access mental health care.
That's amazing. And I'm going to put in a big plug for United Way, because I had no idea. And every time I tend to have a podcast, United Way seems to come up. And the reach is unbelievable. So your early Head Start program, tell us a little bit about that, please.
So we were actually chatting before we started this morning about waiting lists at child care centers. We live in what's called a child care desert, which means there are significantly more children who need spots than there are spots available in child care. And it's particularly challenging for families living in poverty. The majority of families cannot afford child care, let alone families who are living in poverty. So what we know is that by providing children at birth, at the very earliest age, with high quality early childhood education, that sets them up for success their entire life. It is incredible, the research that shows what we do from 0 to 3 years old with our children changes the trajectory of the next,
Yes.
80, 90, 100 years of their lives. So we actually started our early Head Start program back in 2020. Really challenging time to start a new program, but we did. And we have a new facility on Fenwick Drive, and we have a center out in Bedford as well. And so we provide free, full-time childcare to families who qualify. And the majority of families, again, some are living in poverty, some of our children have experienced homelessness, some of our children are currently in foster care. But what we have seen is that by just providing that secure, stable and predictable space where the children can go each day, parents are able to achieve their goals. Parents are able to go out and continue their education. They're able to get a job and keep a job because they don't have, the neighbor who was watching, their child not show up one day. They have something consistent and reliable that they can afford. And so by providing that care for the kids and then creating that space where the parents are supported, we are connecting those parents with wraparound resources, and they're getting out and they're finding employment and they're finding better housing and they're creating that safe, stable environment for their kids, then everybody benefits, right? The whole family. So it's not just about the child, it's about the parents and the whole family.
Well, and that bleeds over into the community.
Exactly.
The community as a whole benefits. Economic Resource Center and foster care. Tell us about the Economic Resource Center and foster care.
Sure. So we have economic resources here in Lynchburg as well as Richmond and in Roanoke. So in multiple parts of Virginia. And there's two parts of that here in Lynchburg. We have the Virginia Career Works Workforce Center, and that is where individuals, like I shared before, can walk in and ask for assistance with building a resume, all the way through getting connected with free education such as credentialing and certifications, getting connected to employers who are seeking people to get credentialed and get certified and get these secure, well-paying full-time jobs. So it can be, a real quick touch with an individual all the way through seeing them through this, continuing education, through landing a career. So that's really valuable piece of our economic resources. Then we also have our Ways to Work program. Ways to Work is also another United Way of Central Virginia funded program, and that supports individuals who either have no credit or poor credit in getting an affordable, reliable vehicle loan. Because individuals who don't have reliable, affordable transportation can't hold down a job.
That's right.
So if they can get connected to a fair interest rate loan, regardless of their credit, and get into a reliable vehicle that's not going to break down the next day, then they can get to their workplace consistently. And we have watched people repair their credit, build their credit, go on to become homeowners. It is truly life-changing. Just that access to an affordable, reliable vehicle. And again, that's also offered in our Richmond location as well.
That's awesome. Touch on foster care a little bit.
Yes.
That's really intriguing. I know one of our agents was actually involved in foster care, I believe, through you all. So how does that work?
Yeah.
Because you have to be really careful about foster care.
Absolutely, yes. Yes. So foster care, of course, is guided and directed by Department of Social Services. So Department of Social Services are the children's guardians at the time, but then they reach out to providers like us to connect children with foster parents and foster homes. And sometimes it's a bit of a matching process, right? Finding the right fit for the child, finding the right fit for the parents and the family. What we take the most pride in is that the foster parents are our customers. If we don't prioritize our parents and provide them with the training and the support that they need, then they won't be successful in providing the environment that the children need. So oftentimes people think of foster care and they think of the child first. Well, the only way that we can impact the child is by creating a space where the foster parents feel fully supported. They know they have someone they can call at a moment's notice, any time of day, any day of the week, to talk something through, to get advice, to get support. We're constantly providing trainings and opportunities for the foster parents to support each other, network with each other. So we feel like that really sets us apart, because it's a tough job to be a foster parent, and it's a huge commitment, and we want to make sure that we're setting our foster parents up for success to do that well.
That's amazing. And it is a huge commitment because the children's backgrounds are so diverse,
Yes.
and you just don't know what you're going to get.
Exactly.
But it's so incredibly important. I think if they can have the right care, then excuse me, it sets them up for life, which
Yes.
again stems into the community. So everything you all do stems into the community. I love that. Healthy families.
Yeah, so the really cool thing about Healthy Families is that it actually stems back to our very early roots. So we talked about how we started in 1903 as an orphanage. And then a few years after that, the organization realized that if they sent supportive services into people's homes, they could prevent the children having to leave the homes and come into the orphanage setting. Not every child that we cared for was an orphan. Sometimes children couldn't be cared for in their homes because of economic reasons, which is another reason why we provide economic resource programs today. Or sometimes there were physical health or mental health challenges in the home, which resulted in the children no longer being able to stay in the home environment. So we learned that if we sent people out into the home and provided supportive services for the parents in the home, that the children could stay at home, which is the best case scenario.
Yes.
So Healthy Families does the exact same thing today. We have trained staff who go into families' homes as early as when they find out they're pregnant, and they continue to go out into the home up to age 5 of that child. So they are, again, focusing on those really critical years, making sure the parents have safe, stable housing, access to food, access to prenatal care, that the children get connected with their own, pediatric care, talking about brain development, how to promote your child's health and well-being, and just creating an environment in which those children and the parents can thrive. And so, again, one of those things that we're doing today that we started from the very beginning.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And the last thing, the Motherhood Collective.
Yes. Yeah, so the Motherhood Collective also focuses on that prenatal postpartum stage and focuses on the parents, the mom in particular, and primarily promotes education. It is an opportunity for women to be empowered about their bodies, about their health care, and to support each other in learning about that. So every month they're getting access to panels of experts in our community. So we have physicians that come in, we have midwives that come in, mental health professionals that come in, and pretty much cover every topic that would be impacting a woman in this perinatal period of their lives, so that by nurturing the mom, they can then nurture the child.
That's awesome. I might need a little of that for my 61-year-old body.
Yeah.
Need a little help. So events. You have a golf challenge coming up
We
the
do.
end of August. Give us a little rundown on
Yes. So the golf challenge is it's closer to the Richmond area, but it's sort of close enough to Richmond that we would or Lynchburg that we would love to have some of our Lynchburg individual supporters and corporate sponsors be a part of that. It is at the Magnolia Green Golf Club. It's only about 90 minutes from here,
Yes.
so not far. It is a fundraiser to support our economic resource programs that we just talked about, both in Richmond and in Lynchburg. So we're still looking for teams, we're still looking for sponsors, and we'd love to have the community support us in that event.
I'm going to be near there this afternoon.
Ooh, wonderful.
Only about 15 minutes away.
Great. Okay.
Milkapalooza.
Yes.
Milkapalooza. Tell me about that. That's August 26th.
It is, and it is on the front lawn of Virginia Baptist Hospital. It celebrates World Breastfeeding Week and Month. And it is really just a celebration of families and young children. It's a great way to spend a Saturday morning with, especially for families that have young kids and are looking for something to keep them active and busy. It'll be full of vendors and services and resources for families with young children. Lots of fun activities. It's just a really great community event that supports the Motherhood Collective's work.
That's awesome. The turkey trot. I have heard about the turkey trot.
Have you done the turkey
I have
trot?
not done the turkey trot. And you know, I was a runner. And I ran indoor-outdoor track and cross country and ran 10 miles a day, 6 days a week, 5 months out of the year. And I've not ran in so many years. But
you can walk it.
My relocation director, she runs, her husband runs, the family runs, friends run. They love this thing.
It is awesome.
Why is it so awesome?
It is one of the happiest events
Really?
I have ever been a part of. The energy, you just can't describe it until you experience it. I mean, who really wants to sign up to get up at 4 a.m. on Thanksgiving morning and work? The first time I did it, begrudgingly, I was hooked. It is so much fun. Everybody's out there with huge families, aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents, kids in strollers, and they're all dressed up in turkey gear and sometimes Christmas gear, and everybody's waving and cheering and smiling. It is just the coolest experience. So.
It's amazing. Now, that's November 23rd. You all have done that for over 35 years. Yeah. And how many people participate in the turkey trot approximately?
Over 3,000.
That's
crazy.
Yeah.
I think we had our second largest year last year, which was really exciting.
That's amazing. My staff loves the turkey trot. They try to drag me out. Maybe this year. I don't know. If I did that, then I would be able to eat anything I wanted the rest of the day with no guilt. So that is an enticement.
It is.
And homecoming. That's something I love, homecoming. So tell me about homecoming because it's got to be incredibly special for these people.
Is. We actually just wrapped up homecoming a few weekends ago. So homecoming is every summer, and individuals who spent time at Presbyterian homes on our campus, whether it was for years or for a few weeks or months, are invited to come back. It is incredibly special. The stories that they have to share about their memories there are just so meaningful, and they help me understand the special spirit that we have at Humankind. Ever since I started working at Humankind, I knew there was something unique that I couldn't quite put my finger on there. And understanding our history and the stories of the children who grew up there and the stories of the people that we work with every day today, it creates a spirit in the organization that it's just very, very unique.
Well, and it's a 2-day event.
Yeah.
So what do these people, I'm sure they interact, they meet one another, but do you have events for them? They have things that are planned to do?
Yeah, so many of them call each other family. I mean, I remember just a few weekends ago, one table in particular, they called each other their sisters. These are my sisters. Not by birth, but they're the sisters that they grew up with. And so they have a cookout on our front lawn. They use the pavilion and the pool, and they go swimming. Oftentimes they'll bring kids, grandkids. They'll show them the buildings that they used to live in, where their rooms were, and again, tell the stories of what it was like when they were growing up there. They have a chapel service on Sunday. They have a business meeting because they also are, the alumni are their own entity. They get to meet some of the staff. They get to learn about what the work that we're doing today, and again, how it connects back to what we were in our past and their stories. The stories of the children that grew up there are very similar to many of the stories of the individuals that we serve today out in the community, in their homes versus on the campus.
That's awesome. So to sort of get to the wrap-up point, which that's going to be tough. So you have different levels of giving.
Yes.
And then you also have the ability for people to volunteer. So if we could touch on both of those a little bit.
Absolutely. Actually, right now we are in the process of gearing back up for the new school year. So we talked about Early Head Start. It is a year-round program, but we sort of reset in August for the new school year. So we right now are seeking donations to support the Early Head Start program. That can be donations of materials and supplies for some of the artistic work that the children do day to day, or it can be gifts, donations, financial gifts. All of our programs can only exist with the support of our community. Individual donors, corporate sponsors, funders and foundations. We wouldn't exist and we wouldn't make the impact that we do without the whole community's support. So, like you mentioned, our website is a treasure trove of information, stories about the impact, lots of data about the impact, but also how to give and how to get involved.
How to get involved.
Yeah.
So if somebody, just from your perspective, what's the best way for someone to get involved and to volunteer? I mean, I think people can go on a website, they can fill out a form, but is it better to reach out to someone that's on the board of directors? Or, I mean, it's because I've spoken to a lot of people after we've done these podcasts, and they've said, you know, I'd like to get involved in this or with this one, and they say, but I just don't want to fill out a form.
Right.
So can they fill out a form? And what I said to them is fill out the form and then put on the notation that, you know, you'd like for somebody to reach out to you, or you reach out to someone, and how do you go about that? Because people that have big hearts that want to volunteer, I don't find them to be just fill out a piece of paper type people. They want a warm and fuzzy, because that's what really gives them their drive.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I think what I would suggest is, yes, fill out the form. So if you go to our website, you can fill out a contact us, and we are very responsive to that. I often see those messages forwarded along to the right people in the organization from that central contact form. I would suggest that individuals share either which one of our programs they're most interested in or passionate about, or if they're not sure about that, what they're most comfortable doing or providing. Some people say, you know what, I want to volunteer, but I'm not actually comfortable interacting one-on-one with someone, but I would be happy to wash clothing donations and sort clothes. You know, we need support across the board. Sometimes it's behind the scenes, and sometimes it is face to face with the programs and the individuals that we support in our programs. Sometimes it's working the turkey trot. That is, we need a huge number of volunteers.
Well, you do for 3,000 people.
Yes, absolutely.
That's crazy.
So I would suggest individuals, when they express that they're interested in volunteering, that they tell us a little bit about what they might be interested in doing or where they think they might be the best fit, and then we'll make sure to connect them with the right person in the organization.
That's awesome. Well, Ashley, thank you so much.
Thank you.
That time flies
it
by.
Did fly by.
And thank you for everything you do. And I thank Humankind. It is an amazing organization. I don't know. I'm going to go back through all of this again. I have to feel, and I love paper. Thank you so much. Have a great week.
Thank you.